Click the links for Odysee, Bit Chute, or to join the channel, support the channel, become a valued member for someone who's not a hot internet chick. It's rough getting donors. Or support me on coffee or crypto. So media leaks lead to, well, I could be a hot internet chick. You never know. You know, or I could just be a shaved-headed, 300-pound, bearded weirdo making videos on a budget cell phone. Which one is more accurate? Hot internet chick or bearded, shaved head, 300-pound weirdo? You decide. So media leaks lead to, I'll have to say, I'll call it, you can read it on the screen. That word is not good for YouTube. The Queen Anonymous types says some idiot, some talking head idiot. And, most people in the mainstream media are talking head idiots. He says, leaks erode trust in the media. How do you say any of this with a straight face? I trust the media. I just want you to know, anyone who's listening, I trust the media and I trust the government. 100%. I don't question authority. Which is funny, because I just did an Odysee video yesterday about Joel Simon, Ruth Ben Giat, and some Zimmer character who were literally saying they're in a battle to control the flow of information. You can't make this stuff up. When they openly say they want to, it's a battle for the soul of freedom, battle over who controls information. They take their mask off and they're telling you who they are. There's no way around this. Like, if someone is openly declaring that they want to extinguish your rights, you had better wake up and do something about it. So they started by talking about the globalist crackdown on free press, but then they kind of slippery little worms they are. They started advocating for the media to essentially turn into Pravda and push a narrative on how the right is attacking democracy, but they don't go into details. Because they don't want to go into details, because then you can nail them on if they make a point, you can rebut that point, which is why they don't want to make a point. They want to keep things as amorphous as possible. It's just blonde man bad stuff, and right-wing groups must be put in happy camps for re-education. If you think that's hyperbole, I don't know if they're going to be successful with something like that, but I guarantee you that someone will be proposing that if they haven't already. The media should report on the events as fairly as possible. If they go into a story seeking to push a narrative, then they're propaganda, which they are, but these three talking heads, Zimmer, Ruth Ben Giat, and Joel Simons, want to control the narrative even more. Which is fine if you're on Team Accelerate. You would have to be asleep in the matrix to not see the globalist media bias. Turning on the TV is like turning the page into an Orwellian nightmare. Every image is POC, protagonist, and POL, person of the light, antagonist. 90% of reporters are not European. Do you think there's some bias there? Oh, how dare you say that? What does it matter what they are? Well, then that works both ways. If it doesn't matter what they are, then why wouldn't you have an equal distribution across lines and ideological distribution? Why don't you have people on the right to balance out some? Well, the people on the right are wrong. Is it possible that you're just in an echo chamber and that there's nuance to this discussion that can only really be fully brought to the forefront where you have point and counterpoint and true counterpoint, not these pseudo-conservatives. They call these people conservatives, and you look at them, you're like, so in what way are they conservative? Well, we put the name on them conservative, but what conservative values do they have? Oh, well, these are new conservatives, so they're not conservatives in any way, shape, or form. They're just strawmen, windmills that you've erected so you can tilt against them. There's some chick in the mainstream media. I think Rubin is one of them. She's some, I don't know, she writes for CNN or something. Like, she's the counterpoint. And there's some other, these quote, very, very heavily in quotes, conservatives. And like, what exactly are you conserving? Nothing? Absolutely nothing. You've really gone down the rabbit hole. You don't have to go that far down to realize that the media is not pro-free speech, which should be more shocking than it is. Like, they'll openly tell you that. I mean, that's like when you discover the ACLU is not protecting civil liberties anymore. They openly don't. I've made videos on that for Odysee and Bit Chute. The ACLU is not the ACLU anymore. The media is not the media anymore. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. when the plants start taking over bodies, and the Asian lady goes, "My husband is not my husband anymore." And then later, after she got subsumed, she became a plant person also. The media has been subverted 50 or more years ago. And if you really want the red pill, go back and read microfiche media from like 100 years ago, or, go back 50 years, 100 years, 150 years, read media reports and like, oh, these people were actually reporting the news as fairly and impartially as possible. And it's very, very harsh, the things they had to say, because sometimes reality is it is what it is. You just got to peel the Band-Aid off. Media are openly telling you that they're trying to control the flow of information. Hollywood presents the media as plucky and brave free speech warriors, breaking open stories no matter the cost, zealous advocates for liberty. No, no, not at all. The media works for the puppet masters, not the people. The puppet masters have deeper pockets. All information or evidence is subject to the same rules. Is it probative and relevant? Is it trustworthy and impartial? The mainstream media fails all of these tests. It has been demonstrated countless times to be alt-left globalist propaganda. They stand in front of burning buildings, or they dodge bullets, high-velocity lead particles, in the Chaz, and they call it a mostly peaceful protest. Videos of that guy in the Tesla handing out AKs. And the media's like, this is fine. This is fine. There's a warlord of the Chaz, but this is okay. This is vibrant. So you ever watch these videos where all the purse puppies use the exact same talking points? These vapid, empty-headed bubble people. This is a threat to our democracy. Brought to you by Teva Pharmaceuticals, a Soros company. The media repeatedly lies so much that people grabbed a simple cell phone and started reporting the news themselves. A $100 cell phone can show a lie that a $50,000 camera tries to conceal. People with their Androids catch the media lying or lying by omission about stories all the time. There are tons of people filming CNN will set up a scene. And you go, well, okay, so they set up a scene, but are they going to say that this is a manipulated scene? No, of course not. That's a lie by manipulation. The media openly lies and is clearly biased. They want to control the narrative, and they don't want you to know that they control the narrative. If you want to go rabbit holing on Twitter and follow the media people in front of, behind the camera, the people they interviewed, all the verified hate, the blue check mark hate, which those Twitter accounts got removed removed from Twitter and from YouTube, but they're on DuckDuckGo. If you want to follow all those about 1,000 blue check mark people who are in and around the media, the academics who are being interviewed, people who are writing books, all these blue check marks, if you follow 1,000 of those people in 6 months, you'll be so far down the rabbit hole, you will come out the other side. The media is not the media that Hollywood has brainwashed you into believing. They openly hate you, they hate free speech, and they hate and don't understand the scientific method. They're almost 100% alt-left globalist mouthpieces. Remember the Newt Gingrich Soros segment? The two talking head idiots panicked when Newt said Soros, he's truthfully and objectively, was donating $600,000 to campaigns to put puppets into office as district attorneys. Kim Fox got some $600,000 to get her put into office. She's the Mutual Combat DA who refused to press charges for people having open battles in the street. That's a civilization that is over. You look at the mayor and you look at the DA, and you're like, okay. I mean, you people should have been drummed out of office immediately when that came down. And it's like this is just part and parcel of a blue city, mutual combat. Oh, okay, because that's kind of like what you'd expect to see in the third world. It's weird that you would have that in a city and like be proud of that. The two bubble-headed talking heads on Fox peed their panties. They had visions of getting Epstein, talking about one of the most powerful people on Earth. Yeah, it's a very dangerous thing to do. All that stuff actually happened. So you can find it in the news for yourself. In fact, that interview, the Newt Gingrich Soros thing, is still on YouTube, for now. The media, and the thing is, if they got rid of that, it's like they slowly, if you look at YouTube from 2 years ago, even 2 years ago, when censorship was already bad, people are saying, they're looking at Odysee and look at YouTube, they're like, yeah, all the videos that were on YouTube 2 years ago are gone now. All of them. Things I'm not even going to mention because the algorithm is going to pick them up. The thing is, all that stuff's on Odysee and Bit Chute now. YouTube is not YouTube anymore. All this stuff has been, it's like, you're fossilizing a piece of wood, turning carbon, and you replace the carbon piece by piece with silicon. It's like, well, it's a rock. It looks like a piece of wood, but it's not. It's just a rock now. Anyway, so those two talking heads, they absolutely panicked. The media doesn't speak truth to power. They are the machine that protects the puppet masters. The media is a great way to control the narrative. Of course, the fomenters of discord will be the ones pulling the strings. They would be negligent if they didn't control it. It's like you've got wealthy and powerful people, and you have a means of dissemination and controlling information in the narrative, and you go, oh, well, it's kind of like game theory 101. If I was a wealthy and powerful person, I would seek to exert some leverage over the means of disseminating information. Oh, well, yeah, that's that logical conclusion is like if a child could see that you would want control of this asset, then the wealthy and powerful people would do whatever they had to do to seek control of the asset, either openly or under the table via not exactly blackmail, but pressure, one way or the other. So the media is so biased that people became their own alt media. The censorship to protect the narrative on the mainstream social media became so bad, people built Bit Chute, Odysee, World Truth Video, Post, Gab, Discord, Telegram to get the real news out and let the people choose. Is the alt media any good? Some is, some isn't, and some is outright insane. But the mainstream media, some of the mainstream media is outright insane. There's nothing crazier than standing in front of a burning building and playing it off as a peaceful. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. So you go, oh, okay, well, some of the alt media is pretty crazy too. Yeah, you have to use the thing between your ears and discriminate between good information and bad information. You can use a scientific method for scientific issues. You can use the basic law school method of IRAC to issue rule, analysis, conclusion, to try to analyze information yourself. There's no trustworthy source to just point to and say, oh, CNN's known to be the highest trust. No, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, Slate, Salon, Vox, Mike, Now This, BuzzFeed, that's all crap. Or they all have a narrative to push. The mainstream media is 99% globalist propaganda, or at the very least, it's con ops incorporated. No, Virginia, the Gateway pundit, Jim Hoft, and the Rebel, the Blaze, Breitbart, even Salty are not going after the truth. They're not being censored. They're still on the spectrum of allowable opinions. When they censor and shadow ban you, then you are over the target. When the ADL, SPLC, ACLU try to censor you, then you're speaking truth to power. Fuentes got kicked from YouTube, Twitter, and Dave Rubin's Getter. I think he owns Getter. Yeah, there's nothing more controlled ops than Getter. Get on Gab. Gab is the only platform out there. Whatever he said was, or maybe mine's is okay too. Whatever he said was enough for John Greenblatt to make some phone calls and simply get him kicked off those platforms. Big tech and the mainstream media are the bad guys who are trying to enslave you in a cage of loud opinions. It's a collection of wealthy, powerful NGOs that are seeking to turn countries into economic zones controlled by business partners. And that's another video I'm going to do. It's if you want to search the GPP, it's essentially what it is, a group of NGOs who want to turn countries from representative republics into commercial zones ruled by executives. It's like they openly advocate for this. They want seats at the UN and they want seats in Congress. They want to essentially run countries, which is why they're doing a lot of other things they're doing, which I can't discuss on YouTube, but is on Odysee and Bit Chute. They want total control of the nation, basically for bankers and big tech to run the country, which they almost totally do now. If you control the flow of information and money, then you control everything. The clever thing is to control both sides so that you can not only control the argument, but you also control the spectrum, which is why Turning Point panicked when the Frog Army called them and Dan Israel First Crenshaw out on their bull feathers. How does backdoor love conserve our conservative values? The left are the totalitarians who want... And the thing is, I'm not seeing anything more than everything needs to be on the table. Like, nobody should be dodging questions. If you're there on a microphone and you start to panic when people ask questions outside the spectrum, well, then you're useless and you need to be your group needs to be destroyed, or at least it needs to be pointed out that, okay, this is Con Ops Incorporated. Turning Point is worse than useless because they're wasting time and resources for a group that should be much more based. And to people's credit, they saw that Turning Point was Con Ops Incorporated, and they shut down a lot of chapters and they moved away from them into something much more based. And it's a trip watching the normie left and normie right start to realize that there is no coming to the middle. The middle is not the solution. You have to go to the right. So the left are these totalitarians who want absolute control of the narrative. And I'm talking about, in my experience, watching people in the Comicsgate community, the Phantom Menace community, slowly, and I won't name names, but I watch them and I slowly hear them come to this realization. And it's a trip to see them red-pilled, which is why I listen to a lot of channels you'd think I wouldn't listen to hear them slowly understand that maybe these people further to the right of the spectrum might have been right all along. And the thing is, the normie right, there's nothing the normie right likes more than to sell out somebody who's a millimeter more to the right than them. They virtue signal just like the left-wing virtue signals. And it's friggin' cowardly and bizarre. The thing is, they just don't know what they don't know. I didn't know what I didn't know 10 years ago. I know what I know now. They're in that position. They just don't know what they don't know. And until they see it for themselves, I always want to be patient before you start reaching conclusions when you're still on shaky grounds. Gather all the evidence. Remember the lady on MSNBC? She said essentially the same thing. I think it was Mika Brzezinski or something like that. She's just another talking head idiot. They really think that they're above someone who's reporting the news with a cell phone and a laptop, or in this case, a cell phone and a Kindle. Like $300 worth of equipment is enough to get the message out. The mainstream media is not the media anymore. They are propaganda. The media is on Gab, Odysee, Telegram, 4chan. The real media is us. And don't support me on Coffee. Millions of us on alt tech getting the message out, and they absolutely want to shut us down. If you gave the mainstream media the option to shut down the alt media, most of them would do it in an instant. They are bad people. They are bad people. The media is just the tool. The hardware is to run their propaganda. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next episode.